Okay, so good evening. This is our meeting for group discussion video for week 8, where group 3 and group 4 will be presenting their chosen poem, and our theme is hope. But before we start our meeting today, let's begin with a little self-introduction. My name is Calvin, metric number 208404.
My name is Pang Lindsay. My matrix number is 208512.
Hello, my name is Natasha Almira and my matrix number is 198455.
Hi guys, my name is Kirtana and my metric number is 199089.
My name is Nuralina and my matrix number is 207888.
Hey guys, my name is Kyle Lily and my matrix number is 198294.
Hi guys, my name is Lekha and metric number 196484.
Hi guys, my name is Rubitra and my metric number is 199194.
Hello, my name is Ding Yin Heng and my matrix number is 207419.
My name is Muhammad Hasib Muhairi, so my metric number is 199061.
My name is Mepan Raja, matrix number 196843.
Okay, since that's everyone, shall we have group 3 to present their selected poem?
Group 3, right? Okay, so wait, I will present my screen. I cannot present my screen. So it's
Kelvin, you need to allow screen sharing.
Okay, wait, screen share. Okay. Okay, so I will read this poem first. Okay, group 3, our group choose a poem with the title Hope is Not Lost. Okay, I will start. When the depression hit, when the people cried in the street, when everything felt at loss, hope stayed, even though fleeing would be easier. When the eyes were full of tears, when the kids and families were torn apart by that last desperate grasp, hope tried. When all else gave up, when all else back off, when people lost all they had, hope flew. When they cried, when the world was shocked with depression and despair, when nothing seemed good, hope worked. When those four planes crashed, when the buildings fell, when the lives were lost, hope was there. Hope was only a tiny glimmer. Hope was still there. She ran to those who needed her. She worked to help. When all else failed, hope didn't. She flew through us all, letting us know we still had her. We just needed to look hard enough. Hope was there. Hope remembers. Jessica Millsap. Okay, thank you.
Okay guys, now I'll be explaining the meaning of this poem. Can you scroll up, Hasib? Okay, so when the desperation hit, when the people cried in the streets, when everything felt at loss, hope stayed, even though fleeing would be easier. What this stanza means is like when people are in a bad situation, when they cannot do anything anymore in a very bad, really bad situation, when they feel like they want to escape the reality, the only thing that holds them from running away from the whatever situation they are going through is hope. Then the second stanza, when the eyes were full of tears, when kids and families were torn apart by that last desperate grasp, hope tried. When relationships, uh, uh, problems in relationship, or when we feel we are in deep sorrow and stuff like that, we still have hope. But when all else gave up, when all else backed off, when people lost all they had, even when people give up on hope itself, hope gives up too. When they cried, when the world was shocked with desperation and despair, when nothing seemed good, hope worked. When they are ready, like when they were hopeless, when they are like, when again they lost hope, but still the only force that is there is hope again. They have to hold on to hope. When those 4 planes crashed, when the buildings fell, when the lives were lost, hope was there. When any mishappens or tragedy, a natural disaster, when something like this happened, the one thing that the remaining people have and they can hold on to is hope. Hope was only a tiny glimmer. Hope was still there. She ran to those who needed her. She worked to help. When all else failed, hope didn't. She flew through us all, letting us know we still had her. We just needed to look hard enough. What these two stanzas mean is, sometimes we won't have anything else, like we'll be lost of everything. There's no place we can go for help, or there's no one to hold on to. And even when all the friends, family, nobody is there, even during when darkness surrounded us, even when our own shadow leaves us in darkness, the only thing left remaining is hope. So hope was there, hope remembers. And as the poem clearly states, not all hope is lost. No matter the hard and unending circumstances, hope continued on throughout the hopelessness. It's always there, just sometimes you can't see it. Hope is the force always looking out for us when we are at our worst. In times of hopelessness, it's always there. Even if it's small and barely visible, there can and will always be hope, and we must not lose sight of it. Hope is only out of sight, and it is never fully lost. And hope is only for those who need it. If you give up on hope, hope will give up on you. So stay hopeful. I'll pass on to Adelina.
Okay, so now I'm going to be explaining why we chose this poem. Actually, there were a lot of choices that we had to go through on what poem we wanted to present to you guys, because I feel like hope can be described in many ways. It kind of depends on like your experience and how you view life, and the way that this poet express hope is like when the world is kind of like what Kyla explained earlier a little bit. Is like when the world is in like is very chaotic and you're like barely hanging on to that last thread. I feel like that last thread is what hope is. It kind of gives you, when you have hope, you kind of have like an expectation for yourself. You have a goal that you want to achieve, and with that you can slowly use that as a guideline to kind of like see what's the next step in your life that you need to take. And especially now, I feel like we've discussed this many times, being in this pandemic, going through it and going through online classes is kind of like a repetition of like waking up, going onto your laptop, going on to online class. You don't have much social interaction, and it's just like you don't know what you kind of get from life right now, and it kind of strips away the joy and the meaning of life. So we're just like going through it. We're staying alive instead of living life, and it kind of like it sucks to say the least. And so I feel like by having hope, it's you kind of want to stay, like you kind of want to like brave yourself and stay, you kind of want to push yourself to stay motivated and kind of like go through this um, pandemic. And also a lot, because a lot of other things is also happening, so it's not just COVID-19, and want to see where what life has in store for you. So I feel like that's why we choose, because I feel like that's what the poet is trying to kind of like describe through this poem. So that's one of the reason. And also because like you can see the poet really gives a lot of description throughout the poem. So I feel like it would be very interesting to kind of put that in like a visual form when we're doing the reflection video, and we can kind of like unleash our creativity to kind of recreate the scenes that this person has included. So that's it.
So thank you, Group 3. Group 4. Now, now can we have Group 4 to present their poem on hope as well?
Yep, sharing my screen. All right. So this is a poem by Kate Summers, and it's titled Hope Keeps Us Going. Hope keeps us going, even when the answers are not knowing. No matter what is going on, hope can let us look forward to the new dawn. The saying, this too shall pass, gives us hope in mass. Life is full of ups and downs. We must keep hope and not frown. Hope for better days is a good prayer to pray. Focus on your blessings, don't just sit and be stressing. Never lose your hope, hoping and action lets you cope. Having hope helps life move on. By focusing on the good, your problems will be gone. And next, I'll pass to Raja to explain.
Okay, so I'll be explaining roughly what each stanza is trying to say. So, well, the first one is basically trying to say that whenever you don't know what's going on, or you're really not sure about what's going to happen, it's basically saying the only thing you can look forward to is, well, hope. You know, you can hope that whatever's coming is going to be good. Okay, more or less that's what it means lah. The second stanza is basically saying that whenever you are facing any ups or downs or U-turns or highway, that particular situation is not going to be there permanently. It's going to be there temporarily. So to keep you going through that rough patch in your life is, well, hope that it's going to turn out better, hope that it's going to move on, because eventually it will. So there's no point in trying to feel sad about it. That's what the last line is trying to say. We must keep hope and not frown. So basically hope that it's going to get better instead of feeling sad about what happened. And then the third stanza is basically saying that one of the good things you can pray for is, well, hoping for a better future, a better day, or what do you call it? A better day, basically. Yeah. Instead of sitting and thinking like, oh, I really messed up today. I don't know how am I going to get up the next morning. Well, basically, you are still going to, in the hopes that it's going to get better. Okay. That's the third stanza. Then, well, the last one is saying never lose your hope when you are living, basically. The reason being because hope becomes one of your mechanisms in coping with your problems which you face day to day is one. And it's also a way for you to know that whatever you are facing is not going to be there permanently. If you didn't have hope, you would be thinking like, I'm stuck here permanently. I won't be able to move, you know? Yeah. That's the fourth stanza. That's what I was trying to say. The reason why we actually chose this poem among all the others that we chose from, among the others that we saw, was the reason being that this had only 4 stanzas, which was quite easy to read through. And as you can see, not many of the words are confusing. They are quite straightforward for me to understand, for us to understand. Yeah. So that, and then plus it actually matches the theme, like hope, like it's trying to say, like, whenever you're confused, you can use hope. Whenever you are stuck, you can use hope. Whenever you are in distress, you can use hope. Whenever you're hoping, you can use hope, basically. Yeah, that's like the 4 things that I see here. One of the 4 things that we actually use to choose this poem among the others that we saw. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you, Group 4, and thank you, Raja. Now looking back at both poems, I personally preferred Group 4's poem instead of Group 3, just because I feel like it's less chaotic and the way it describes the role of hope in our lives is much more subtle and eloquent, but that's just my opinion. So what do you guys think about it?
Okay. First, I want to say that I actually really like Group Three's poem because it's a lot of visualization. It actually paints the picture very clearly of people's sadness and desperation, like people crying in the streets. I feel like it'd be something interesting for us to put in the video. And it also has quite a lot of content, so we don't have to worry about, the video being too short. And I liked how Kyle actually explained the poem. It's like saying, like, when everything else fails, hope is the only thing that will keep you going. And if you have hope, then everything else will work out eventually. And I also like how the author actually personalized hope as a she. So I think that's very special as well. So yeah.
Hi. So for me, I prefer the poem that group 3 present more, um, because it's quite interesting and both of the poems fit the theme lah. However, for group 4 poem, sorry to say this if it's offensive, but it doesn't sound like a poem to me. I know it was straightforward, fit the theme, but it's just quite hard for us to make a video out of it. I can't imagine how we're going to picture it. The whole poem sounds like a guidance or an advice that we will hear from a preacher or therapist. That's what I'm picturing. For group 3, I think it will be very interesting to make a poem of it because if it's animation, we could make the person, we could make the hope as a female character because they use the pronouns she and her, right? So yeah, that's all. I like group 3 promo.
Okay, so I think I'll agree to a certain extent with Ruby. I mean, like about group 3's poem. Can you all hear me? Okay, yeah. So for me, I do like group 3's poem because for video making, it'll be easier because it's lengthy and it's more descriptive and a lot of situations going on. But group 4's poem is good as well. Just that it's a bit simple, short, and like, yeah, in terms of doing video, it'll be a bit difficult if it's group 4's poem. Yeah, so that's all from me.
Actually, I'm not sure which side I want to choose. Maybe I sitting on the fence, like no side. I'm being neutral in this kind of comparison, because for me, both of the poems they have good and also they have disadvantage point. What can I say? First of all, for the first poem, which is what is topic again? Hope is not lost. This poem is actually there has darkness, as the poet is trying to describe that every bad situation there will be hope for us to overcome this kind of bad event. So even though this poem is quite lengthy, like everyone just said just now, however, in this poem, the poet is actually described about sad or unfortunate events such as plane crash, collapse building, natural disaster, or maybe loss of family members. And maybe because of this kind of description in this poem, it will be easier for us to like express the whole poem into motion video. Like we can use like the real life situation. Maybe we can relate plane crash with MH17, I guess. My opinion. So for the second group, which is what topic is it? Hope keep us going. This poem is actually, for my opinion, is actually more to positive side as the poet is actually trying to encourage people. Like there are certain words, for example, hope keep us going. We must keep hope and not frown. Never lose hope. And me as a reader, when I read it, it actually makes me feel encouraged. So one thing that I like about this poem is that the rhythm lah, just as such as Raja said just now, like when because of the rhythm and it looks synchronized. So when we read the poem, it's actually sound much better compared to the other poem. However, one thing that I really consider about this poem, like everyone said, is that how we're going to express the whole poem because it's actually quite straightforward. So yeah, that's my point of view. How about the others?
Yes, I agree on that too. I actually love both poems, but I think I will side more on the group three. Yeah, hope is not lost because first of all, I like how they kind of the way they wrote the poem. It's like kind of relating to actual real life situations where all the disasters happen like 9/11, you know, or any like natural disasters and all. So I like how they brought up that when you're actually in that situation, like when there's no one around you, you're like stuck somewhere and it's actually going on. You the only thing is that is hope. Like even if you give up, you would actually hope that someone would come help me. Like someone would come help me like that. So hope never left it. So I love how they kind of explained that in that poem. Like it also in our real life when all these things happening around us right now during the pandemic, we all like stuck here in the college. We cannot even meet our loved ones. Like, even if we feel like we're giving up, like we can hope that things will be all right. So that's one thing I like about the group three's poem. But group four, their poem was quite good as well. It was quite straightforward. It will be a bit difficult to do the video, or it will be a bit difficult, but I liked the message too. Like especially these two shall pass. That saying is we have to keep remembering it in this situation. So yeah, but I think I'll side more towards group three's poem. Hope is not lost. Yeah, that's all.
Hello. Yeah, I do agree that group 4 poem is quite straightforward, and also I personally like group 3 poem a lot because I like the writing style of the poem. It is like it is quite dark, and also there is a lot of tragedy, but the poet actually managed to link it with hope by adding one sentence at each of the stanzas, which is like hope was always there, hope was helping. Yeah. So actually, I like group 3's poem more than group 4. And also there was a lot of scene, like those tragic, like the plane crash or yeah, I can't remember it, but there's a lot of scene which is very good to make it into a video. Yeah, that's my opinion.
So do you guys still have anything that you want to add? Hello, can you guys hear me? All right. So
Yes.
even though I do agree with the majority of y'all, then I think since Group 3's poem is lengthier, it do allows us to have an easier time when we're trying to do the animation video if we decide to go that route. But personally, I just feel like whenever I read the poem, I don't feel like it's a poem. It feels more like a script for a disaster movie in a way. I don't know it's a good thing or a bad thing, but for Group 4's poem, it's easier to read, as well as since it's pretty straightforward, it allows us to have our own interpretation in terms of how do we want to make the story for a hopeful situation. We can just make it into a video, so it would be quite easy, but that's just my opinion. And if you guys have nothing to add or comment on the poems, shall we conclude the presentation today by rescheduling the time for our next meeting, the same time next week? Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, no problem.
Yes, I'm okay with
Yes.
it.
All right. So thank you everyone for your time today, and yep, goodbye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Thank you,
Everyone.
guys.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.